So you'll notice with this aggregate query that we added with Rollup, and when we run it, if you go to the very bottom, it's giving us a grand total, and that's what with Rollup does. But you can see that the label says null, and by adding a case statement, we can actually change that label. So you always want to start with a select query that is running, and then you can modify it. So to modify this, what we're going to need to do is put vendor name inside a case statement. And we're going to add grouping to that case. So we're going to say case when grouping on vendor name, vendor name, when that is equal to a 1. And that means that it's going to display the row with the rollup. So that's going to display null. Okay, so when grouping on vendor name equals a 1, that's when we're going to get that null heading. And we want to change it. So we're going to say then, and we'll say grand total here. Okay, so when vendor name is not a 1, then it's just the regular vendor name. So we're going to say else vendor name, right? If it's not a 1, it's not a total row. So we want to just display the vendor name. And then that is the end of our case. And we're going to give our column a label of the vendor name. And then I'm going to throw this sum on the next line. Okay, so by putting vendor name inside the case statement, what we're going to get is either the name of the vendor. Okay, we're calling the column vendor name, so that's our column heading. So we're either going to get the vendor name or we're going to get a grand total. So when you run this, what's going to happen, if you scroll down, is you're going to see grand total at the bottom instead of the word null. Okay, so a grouping on vendor name equals 1 is looking for that null heading. Okay, that's your total line. And it's going to replace null with whatever text you have here. That's how it works.